perspective.
And the videos they make implicitly encourage their audience to go over to their target's channel and harass them. Their audience bombards the social justice advocates' ratings with dislikes. Many people have bragged to me in the comments about how they made multiple accounts, dozens of accounts, just so they could dislike my content several times.
So it really depends. There are some who are very large YouTubers with a lot of influence that lots of people follow, and if they decide to target someone, especially a smaller person, it can vary them in the amount of dislikes and comments and things like that. But there are smaller people who make response videos, and their impact isn't quite as big because it's like any YouTube community. Even if it's, I would say, a negative one, it has a wide range of YouTubers with different levels of influence in it.
You've probably heard the phrase feminism is a religion, or you've heard people compare feminism to a religion, and it was never literal. Until now. Pussy church of modern... The women, brother! Men are not your brothers, women are not your sisters. There's absolutely nothing more but frustrating than being grouped in with a bunch of crazies because you share the same genets, or the same race, hell, even the same political leaning. We're all individuals. Okay,
Hola, spotters, trollers, persons of interest. Welcome back to Soul Mechanics. This extra special edition of the Sidetracks course is intended to be somewhat of a rant for some of my fellow tubers and for generally the YouTube community overall. Before we begin, I should like to address certain articles of interest as regards this particular episode. Namely, the usage of what I believe are called jump cuts. This seems to be somewhat of an adapted schematic for YouTube videos, I guess. I mean, I see this all over the place. Like, just about every YouTuber, at least the major YouTubers, does this often. They're just cutting in and out of their videos, left and right, and left and right again. And I'm not sure. I mean, of course, I'd have to presume that this is editing, kind of to cover fuck-ups, which I fuck up a lot. You know, I fucked up pretty bad in our previous episode here, addressing Blair White and ContraPoints. I did not possess all of the relevant information that was necessary to come to a conclusive assessment there, and I did, in fact, go ahead and jump to certain conclusions that I believe may be incorrect in some way or another. Of course, as is stated in the titling of that video, it is in fact round one of what may very well be several, because as it happens, delving further into that debate, though we thought we had kind of made our point in the video, it turns out that there is in fact a whole hell of a lot more that we have to say, most especially on Sweetie Cheek's side, wherein she actually got pissed off from that video, kind of blew up, and this time we're not going to leave you hanging. This time we're actually going to go back and we're going to address the things that blew my partner's mind, I suppose, and it's good shit, so stay tuned on that one. There will be a round 2 and quite possibly a round 3. I mean, this is a big one. There's a lot to say about that, and it's important shit that needs to be addressed. Anyways, as regards these editing jump cuts, I see this so often that it kind of begins to come across somewhat disingenuous. I mean, where I see tubers who have been at this for like years and years, or as long as ContraPoints have been out for like 12 years, over a decade at least, you shouldn't expect for them to be really fucking up so often, right? But you see them doing this shit repeatedly throughout their videos, like several times within the span of a single sentence. You might see them jump cutting from one edit to another, and I mean, it seems as though they might be doing it just for the fuck of it. Like, I don't know, kind of somewhat of an adapted schematic, as I said. Like, it's a style now with YouTube. I guess it's kind of trendy to do this, but I mean, it seems almost as though they're pretending to make mistakes for the sake of delivery style. It doesn't seem very genuine, but I suppose we can run with that ball. But I do have to wonder if they even, like, know that they're doing that. Like, do you guys know that you're doing that, or is it just, like, impulse? because, I mean, it's very strange that you should be pretending to make mistakes. Like, that is very, very odd behavior. In any case, the addressing of that particular query does, in fact, speak to the issue at hand as regards this particular video. Second thing, side note, before we continue, is that if you are one of the channels that our temp operator, our kind patron, may have dropped a link to, which, firstly, I don't participate so much in Twitter land. I can't really keep track of it, and from what I hear, it's not a place that I really want to be, especially as a YouTuber. I guess, you know, there are like Twitter wars that go on with arguments and contentions and shit, which, I mean, I can give a hint to anybody that is using Twitter. If you drop the bullshit arguments and contentions and actually use it as a tool to kind of seek out people, you know, deliberately find people that may be in some way beneficial to whatever cause you're striving for, whatever service you might be providing, it works out. It's a pretty good, that's how I found our operator, actually, Madam Third Eye. Shout out to her should she watch this, and our temp operator, actually, who's working with the channel. But as I stated, if she drops a link to you, you're one of our selected assets, people that we would like to work with at some point, and people that we see a lot of value in their channel. And I do apologize if you are one of these people. It's very likely that I will have already kind of stalked your channel. And when I see value in a channel, when I see, you know, values presented in the content that I deem worthy of investing in long term, I will binge watch the channel video, and I will have something to say about every video. And yes, you will get bombarded with outrageously lengthy commentary. And I mean, I do apologize if it bothers you, as some of these people have even remarked that it's in some ways disturbing, but that this should be so uncommon, actually, is what I find to be disturbing, considering that is in fact what the comment section is for, you know. And I don't see a lot of people presenting commentary actually regarding the video, but more so kind of regarding, I guess, what you might call memes involved in it, and making jokes that in most cases don't even really apply. I mean, that it should be so uncommon for people to actually place lengthy, thoughtful, considerate commentaries regarding the video and or the channel, most especially where I do in fact present what I believe to be, you know, slip-ups or mistakes or areas of interest wherein you could do better, and I address that. You know, that's in fact why you're getting these lengthy comments from me all the time, is because the commentary I have to provide is indeed thoughtful and considerate. So, I mean, if it bothers you, if it disturbs you, even any given channel that we might be addressing here who might see this, I suppose I'll have to go ahead and concede that that is in fact too fucking bad for you. If you're like Blair White, you can go ahead and like run away, somehow block me from commenting to you if you don't want to hear them, but I mean, they are useful comments, and I mean, it goes to show a sense of fear in that regard, should you choose to do that. And I mean, I'm only presenting truths, so if you're afraid of honest truths, that speaks to inner issues regarding you as a person that might need addressing to some extent. Anyways, to begin proper, hola, hello to everyone, anybody that did in fact receive a link for this. I'm sorry about the lengthy comment, but I'm also sorry that we're dropping the links. I think that this might be what Anti-Ordinary was trying to say in the video she made about us, where she said, quote, promoting his shit and my shit, because I might have placed links to videos that we made for her. If we make a video for you, we have to deliver it somehow, and as stated, I'm not involved with Twitter and the other whatever, so I don't. That's how we get them to you. I'm sorry if that upsets you that we're placing links for our channel, but we want you to see our channel. And we do want your audience to see our channel too. We're not trying to steal people from you, we're trying to share them, because we are in fact supposed to be collaborating here. We need to be collaborating. So again, hello to everybody. It's a pleasure to see you. If you got a link, then that means you're a targeted asset. It means that we have a great degree of respect for your work, whatever position you might hold, whatever your stance might be. We have a great degree of respect, and we are intending to present that and to some extent express our gratitude for your services, or at least our appreciation. So what we're addressing in this one, it would appear, is feminism, which is not actually what we're addressing. That's kind of like a decoy. But, I mean, we're going to talk about feminism here. I've wanted to talk about this for a long, long time. But what we're actually talking about, to go about using the YouTuber vernacular, if I have to refer to everything as an ism of some sort or another, it's what I would have to regard as being a sort of a radicalism that we're seeing everywhere, and most presciently therein the tendency to kind of adopt this radicalism as a feature of your own schematic as regards whichever community you happen to be, a proponent for. And from the soul mechanics perspective, we kind of have to view this radicalism as being a malfunctioning component of our cultural mechanism. It seems, okay, so we have communities all over the place. Obviously, soul mechanics is working to unite communities. That's what we intend to do. We're trying to put the pieces together and make a functioning machinery here. But in these communities, we have these kind of extremists or radicalists, as I said, and most particularly what we see as regards communities, particularly the transgender communities or the LGBT community in general, even the science communities, but the political communities most especially, we see this partisanism. And that's another problem area. I'm failing to understand how you guys don't see this. I mean, I'm sorry, especially for when we look in the LGBT community, or we look in specifically the trans community, we see the non-binary thing where we have this divide, these factions within that community combating each other. And I mean, I have to lean to one side or another, and I do lean to the side wherein I see this non-binary as being a problem area, because it's very much the same sort of thing. I mean, it falls in line with this idea of radicalism, which attends to this concept of partisanism, which are just a whole slew of problems that are strikingly obvious. I mean, I'm sorry if it comes across offensive to anybody, but you guys need to get your motherfucking heads out of your goddamn asses. I mean, we are at war right now. And when I say we, I don't mean Sweetie Cheeks and I don't mean the initiative, I don't mean any given community, I mean the royal we, dude. The collective, humanity. We are at war with a vicious enemy right now, and most of you guys, you don't even see it happening. The reason being that you're distracted by the decoys that it has put in play. We have these radicalists, we have these extremists, they're all over the place. As I said, the non-binary community represents a sort of extremism or a radicalism in the trans community, wherein these people are essentially presenting themselves as crazy fanatics of some sort or another. Now, in the initial clip, what should have introduced us to this episode, you're going to have seen a couple of our targeted assets, one of which, to make note for anybody who's paying attention, is not a targeted asset, is in fact to be regarded as just a problem area in and of themselves. But that's just kind of, I suppose it's kind of an insight joke, or an irony at least. Maybe it's not. Whatever the case. Various targeted persons, persons of interest, will have stated several things, and collectively they have in fact stated what the problem actually is. The real problem, which you guys are not even looking at, is that these radicalist or extremist kind of factions within the communities, they in fact are religions. It's all cultism, and in dividing from them and presenting yourselves as a proponent of one side or another, an opponent to one side or another, you in fact are adopting the same cultist mentality. You're playing by their rules, you're playing the game by their standards. And by they, I mean whomever happens to be occupied by this intrinsic enemy. It's the enemy within. There is no human enemy. You're not actually fighting any people, except in the cases where you do indeed go about damaging other people, damaging, persons' lives, and in turn, thereby causing damage to your own community and your own sense of self. By presenting yourself as a fucking asshole, you thereby become an asshole in ultimate reality. I mean, this is a decision that you guys can make, okay? That's what I'm seeing as being the problem, is that we do have these religious cultist influences in play, that maybe religion in and of itself is an extension of whatever caused this. Perhaps it's not the root cause, but it's coming close to understanding it, and in that we can see where it's coming from and we can see where it's going. And if you're keeping your fucking eyes on the ball, you guys got this perspective on everything from, up your fucking asses, and you're not seeing what's actually going on, and it's really troubling. It's terribly disturbing to see this happening, that it's like the actual issue at hand is staring you right in the face and you're missing it completely. Where we see these radicalists and such, and these people that we see as being extreme in any given, function, any given area, they're like foils, they're farces, like we see with the Antifa. And this is speaking of the philosophy tube guy. I can't remember his name right now, sorry, but he presented himself as being a proponent of Antifa. But anti-fascism is one thing. The Antifa that we see presenting and harming people, that's a foil. That's not anti-fascism, that is fascism. You see, you guys are adopting the same components that are being made use of in the machinery that you intend to be combating. It's self-destructive, and we all have this self-destructive tendency. It's in our very nature. We can't escape it. Like I was saying, you guys, this is a decision that you can make. It's simply, are you fighting for a neutrality, for a unity, for an alliance, or are you fighting for anti-neutrality? If you're on one side or another, if you have a line drawn, you're on the wrong side. Because humanity is a collective entity. This life, this world, this is our project. We have a community goal. We have a communal objective. But thereby, we have people who are, heavy hitters, heavyweights in any given community, such as Blair White, going about saying that the non-binary community is representing communism or socialists. Like, firstly, there's nothing wrong with communism or socialism. In fact, that's great. That's good shit, except in the cases where it becomes corrupted, much like democracy has become corrupted. Even though that's a great thing, it's not working. We're fucking it up, and the reason being because everybody's fighting for this partisanist, radicalist, fucking anti-neutrality mentality. Everybody's working towards reinforcing the division complex. And as I was saying, where we see people like these Antifa, one Antifa guy went and he tried to bomb some building. He had a note on him, and this is what gave it away. So I need to cut in here from the future because stupid past me got sidetracked and lost the fucking point of the entire video. As I was saying about the Antifa thing, dude shows up at this building with a bomb. He fails, and I mean, I'm pretty sure that was kind of the point of it. Didn't really want to bomb the place. He wanted to insinuate that he had intended to, and on this person we find a note suggesting that he was inspired in some way or another by the trans community. That's a foil. I mean, it's mocking and essentially villainizing or demonizing the Antifa community, as it were, which obviously is not supposed to be an organized community, but has become that by adopting this cultist ideology, this cultist partisanist mentality, wherein these people are factioning, as it were, and associating this now demonized community with the trans community, which has already got a fucking poorly, a pour out negative fucking spotlight on it as it stands already because of the non-binary people, which is what it directly associated itself to, was the non-binary specifically community, thereby demonizing the whole lot of them and essentially just kind of confusing the fuck out of anybody that's involved with any of these communities. That's a trap. And if you don't see that that's a deliberate trap, I don't know what you're looking at. Because it's right out in the open, it's right in your fucking face. And it's not really people. There are people behind this, but they're doing it because they're trapped too. We need to put the spotlight on that trap. Stop being distracted. That's a fucking distraction. We need to change our minds in such a way as to go about being supportive and promotional for that what we favor, and for all intents and purposes ignore that what we see as being villainous or wrong or evil in any way. The things that are damaging, the things that are corrupted, the parts of our collective community that are malfunctioning, such as what we see as being fascism, what we see as being, overtly, fanatically religious, and such components of our ultimate overall communal structure. These are pieces of yourself that you're combating, you're feeding that part of yourself by combating it. And the reason being that somewhere deep inside, and there's some of you who might get this that should know this, you're afraid to let go of these pieces of yourself because you believe that they in some way define you, that this struggle, this combat, this conflict is definitive of what you are as a person. You need to let it go. So that was the point I was trying to make with that one. Click back to past me now to continue the initial video. Sorry. Okay, for Madam Rose, should she see this, firstly, I saw your live stream. You should know that. I mean, I will have popped up in the live chat comments a lot, presenting areas of inquiry wherein I do believe you guys are making pretty severe mistakes. And again, these are heavy hitters. You guys are important. You're a big fucking deal. You're making a big fucking difference in the world, but what sort of a difference are you making? Because still, you're fighting for that self-destructive goal, that enemy mentality, that people are your enemy, that people are against you in some way, that you have a reason to be against people. It's not the people. It's the ideology, it's the mindset, and ideology in and of itself for the skeptical community, that's not wrong either. That's not bad. Everything that we've created, it can be made use of. It's all components to the machine that can be, this device can be magnificent if you guys just decide. Again, it's a decision that you can make. Nobody's stopping you. You don't have to, you can change your fucking mind at any given point. You just decide to stop behaving like a fucking childish jackass, fucking making enemies, essentially, causing conflicts, pursuing conflict because it feeds some beast in you. Remember the age-old adage, whichever beast you feed. And you guys are continuing to fucking fan the flames with waves of gasoline. And, I mean, where we see these people who, as I stated, these foils, like the radical feminists, what are they doing? What are they actually doing in reality? You guys think that they're just extremist assholes, but they're deliberately giving your community a bad name. Feminism was working towards equality, and it succeeded. Now we have the radicalist, extremist feminists, as it were, these foils out there attempting to destroy that, trying to state in some way that women should be superior to men because we want to level it out the other way. We're trying to get a balance here, but every time we do get balanced, we have one side trying to push over on the other. You guys got to wake up, man. These foils, they're out there deliberately putting a fucking stick in the spokes of your bicycle, as it were. And they're not an enemy. It's this ANE, as we've called it. It's this human algorithm, this programming, this mindset that we have that's causing people to behave this way. You have to attack the mindset. First you have to address it. Obviously, you're going to have to wake up and become aware, open your eyes and see that this is actually happening. Then we can address it collectively together as a community. We have to come together and we have to put the fucking spotlight on this true villain. And stop being distracted by, how much you hate whichever other YouTuber or whomever, or how much you want to make fun of somebody because you think they're stupid. Help them. Stop being a fucking child. We need to grow up. We need to set the childish toys aside. Religion, politics, partisanism. These things are toys. They're bullshit dreams that have become nightmares. They're fantasies. This world is ours. We have responsibility for this life. We can change our minds. We can stop behaving this way. That's as fucking simple as that. Snap out of it. Anyways, I think that's about all I have to say. We'll have a second feminism video, but that's what I wanted to say to the tubers to whom this will have been presented. If you actually watch this, thank you very much for attending. I very deeply appreciate it, and I really hope that something got across here. So, Kila Salai, Teriuni Siari, Namaste.